the ITS Tactical Knot of the Week. Today we're going to be demonstrating how to tie a hasty climbing harness out of tubular webbing. So let me let you take a look at this tubular webbing real quick. This is mil-spec tubular webbing. It has about a 4,200 pound strength rating, which is, you'll find that there's some tubular webbing that says climbing rated 2, roughly the same stuff. You're going to win either way. So this happens to be an 18-foot length. And I have this put together, kind of coiled up with a rigger's rubber band and a tail flopping off here. And the reason for that is that what I've done, you can see that black mark on here, I think. Yep. That's the midpoint of this 18-foot section. And what that does is it makes it very easy to grab this thing, pull that, shoot that rigger's rubber band off, and drop this to tie really quick in a hurry if you have to. So by taking this midpoint, you want to hold that. I'll let this down here so you can see the ends. And you can see that one end is a little longer than the other. And you want to keep that shorter end on your right. And I've done that on purpose so that when you tie the tape knot that's going to secure this thing, it's going to be on your right hip, and you want the shorter side on the hip you're going to tie off to. If we're tying the left hip, we'd have that shorter side on the left, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So the first step is to take that midpoint, loop it through your legs. I actually have the shorter side on the left, so I'm going to cross these back here. Now we have that shorter side on the right. You're going to take the two lines, come through that center loop. Now at this point you have a couple of options. You definitely want to kind of adjust this thing so that the webbing is all facing the same direction, or lays the same direction, and that'll really kind of help your legs and your crotch here when you actually have to use this thing. So at this point you can either tie tape knots right here in each individual side before the wrap in the back. And what that will do is enable this to, I guess, stay together in case of an abrasion or a cut. That way it's not just one full piece. So if it was one full piece, you got to cut, let's say on your leg strap here. If that wasn't tied, you know, one slit and the whole thing falls apart. So anyway, I'm going to skip the tape knots just for the sake of time here. You're going to wrap around the back to the front, and then off to the side. And at this point, you're going to tie a tape knot. Now you could tie a square knot, but in tubular webbing it's not a good idea. It's just better to go with a tape knot. It works, it's strong, and it's used in climbing all the time. So we have a demonstration of a tape knot on ITS Tactical, if you're not familiar with that. Okay, we've got our tape knot tied, just like so. And we're just going to do some overhand knots right here to lock this off. It's important to back up a tape knot. So now we've got our knots there. 2 overhand knots, the tape knot. And now all you're going to do is take these 2 strands, the 2 that are wrapped around your waist here, the one that's coming through your crotch, and you're going to put the carabiner on. Now again, screw down so you don't screw up. We've always taught that here on our climbing videos. And there you have a hasty rappelling harness made out of tubular webbing. So there's a second way of doing this. This way it takes a little longer. This is obviously a more secure harness, and especially when you add in the additional tape knots here on these 2 points, it'll be even more secure. Not as good as a climbing harness, but still, it's a very good harness. Nonetheless, and could be used in a pinch in a situation. So let me take this off, and I'll demonstrate the second kind of harness. Again, this is a 18-foot section of tubular webbing that I've used here. And this, again, is a great way to carry a backup harness, just as I've shown there with the rigger's rubber band. And we'll eventually get to a climbing video showing all these harnesses that we've demonstrated. The Swiss seat, which we've showed in the past, and webbing harnesses and even rigger's belts in use on the rock. But one last thing to mention on this kind of harness is the way that this differs from a Swiss seat is obviously it's made out of webbing, so it's a little flatter to store, less, definitely more compact than a rope that's stored. But Swiss seat, I feel, is somewhat superior, but the webbing lays flatter, so it's sometimes more comfortable to wear. So that was a 18-foot section. Now, something that I carry in my bag when I'm hiking around, this happens to be a TAD Fast Pack. And they have this small little flashlight pocket, flashlight cave I think they call it. But what I carry is this. TAD makes these pretty cool retractable lanyards, which I have in this flashlight cave. And I have a simple piece of tubular webbing. This is about, I believe, 12 feet. And I have a beaner attached to this. And all I do on this job is pull off that beaner and it drops the harness. Now this is already at the midpoint here when I pull off the beaner. And what I've got is a tape knot backed up with 2 overhand knots. And you just step on this and you've got your midpoint. So all you do on this harness is pull it through and reach around to the back just like this, and you have 2 loops. With those 2 loops, put them around your hands, come through, grab this loop, and simply pull over. And you take your beaner off, attach it to those 2 loops that you pulled through, and screw down so you don't screw up. And there you have a even hastier tubular webbing harness. Now, obviously this one doesn't wrap around your waist, so it's not as secure. But if you're really pressed for time and you really have to get a harness on and get down a rock, this is definitely the way to go. Now, let me show this one again real quick, just so you can see it. So again, this is a 12-foot section that I carry already tied with the tape knots, or the tape knot and the backup. Leave the carabiner unclipped, and it's just rolled up. And attached to that rigger's rubber band and here on this lanyard. So it makes it really easy to pull out, and when this is pulled out, it automatically goes back in there. I don't have to worry about it. This comes down, comes around, and I'll actually tie this really quick. There you have it. The Hasty climbing harness made out of tubular webbing. Please let us know if you have any questions. Obviously we've demonstrated a couple different things here. May or may not have been easy to understand how we were tying all this, so if you have any questions, let us know. Thanks for watching.